Hare Krishna. So, with the speed which we are going, we will not be able to cover uh, 1 year also. So, I'll try to take a little more fast. This is one of the important verses. This last two verses also. This also is a very nice verse. These two verses we'll discuss and then we'll go further. Yeah. So before that, we'll just recite all the shlokas. Actually, from 18th onwards. Actually, Monica Mata is sent, but I am not able to open in my laptop. Tomorrow we'll start with that. Kunti uvacha namaste purusham twadhyam isharam prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbhairavasthitam maya javanika channam ajnadokshajam agyam alakshase modadrisham nato natyadaro yata tata paramahamsanam munina hamalatmanam bhakti yoga vidanartham katam pashyemahi striyah कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये यथा ऋषिकेशकलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं सुचार्पिता विमोहिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपत्कणा विषान्महाग्ने पुरुषाददर्शनात् असत्सभाया वनवासकृच्छ्रिता मृदे मृदे नेह महारथाश्रितो धौम्यस्तश्चास्मि हरेभिरक्षिता विपदः सन्तुता शश्वत् तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरो भवतो दर्शनं यस्याद पुनर्भवदर्शनम् जन्मैश्वर्यासुतश्रीभिर्येदमानमतः पुमान् नैवार्तमभिधातुं वै त्वामकिञ्चन गोचरम् मन्ये नमो किञ्चन वित्ताय निवृत्ता गुणवित्तये आत्मा रामाय शान्ताय कैवल्यापतये नमः मन्ये त्वां कालमीशानं मनादिनिधनं विभुं समं चरन्तं सर्वत्र भूतानां यम्यतत्पदिः न वेद कश्चित् भगवंश्चिकीर्षितं तवेहमानस्य निनां विडम्बनम् न यस्य कश्चित् दयितोऽस्ति कर्हिचित् देश्चश्च यस्मिन् विषमामतिर्निनाम् जन्म कर्म च विश्वात्मन् अजस्याकर्तुरात्मनः तिर्यन्निशिशुयादिषु तदत्यन्ता विडम्बनम् गोप्या ददे त्वयि कृतागसिधाम तावत् याते दशाशुरकलिलाञ्जनसम्भ्रमाक्षम् वक्त्रं निनीय भवभावनया सुतस्य सामान् विमोहयति भीरप्यद्बिभेति केचिदाहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदो प्रियस्यन्वयाये मदयस्यैव चन्दनम् अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां याचितो भगात् अजस्तम् अस्य क्षेमाय वदाय च सुरद्विषाम् भारावतारणान्ये भुवो नावो इवो ददो सीदन्त्या भूरिभारेण जातो हि आत्मभुवार्तितः भवेस्मिन् क्लिश्यमानानाम् विद्याकामकर्मभिः श्रवणस्मरणार्हानि करिष्यन्निति केचन शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त भीक्ष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त चिरेव तावकं भवः प्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम् अप्यद्यन्नस्त्वं स्वाकृते हितप्रभो विहाससि स्वित्सुहृदो अनुजीविनः येषां न चान्यद्भवतः पदाम्बुजात् Parayanam Rajashiyojitahamsa Kevayam Nama Rupabhyam Yudubhih Saha Pandava Bhavato Darshanam Yarhi Rishi Kanami Veshito Neyam Shobhishyate Tatra Yatadhinam Gadadara Tatpadairaniga Bhati Swalakshana Vilakshanai Ime Janapada Spitha Sapakshaushadi Viruda Vanatirnadya Udanvanto Hedante Tava Vikshitai अत विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ति स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशमिमं चिन्ति दृढं पाण्डिषु विष्णुषु द्वैमेनन्न विषया मतिर्मधुपते असतत्प्रतिमुद्वहतो मत्थां गे योगं मुदन्वति श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सतविष्णु ऋषभावनीदृग्राजन्यवंशदहनापवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोत्विजसुरार्तिहरावतारे योगेश्वरा किल गुरो भगवन्नमस्ते. So we'll continue our discussion. We'll just start with this Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. I'll try to make it little fast because if we go so slow, we'll not be able to we'll not be able to cover in even in 6 months also this chapter because so much is there in this. But I'll try to. So here, Krishnaya, this is a very important word Kunti Maharani is using. For us, this word Krishna is a very important word because we feel that Krishna is the most important of the innumerable. The name Krishna is most important of all the names of God because it best describes the qualities and natures of Lord. That's why Krishna. Now others may not accept it, even other religions, what and no, other Vaishnava parties also, what to speak other religions, but that is actually true. Now we have to sufficiently know what it is. I'll just give because this is important. Many times we get this word, but here because it came for the first time, we'll try to discuss. Kunti Maharani is addressing Krishna as Krishna. So we'll try to analyze. We'll just give 2-3 reasons only because Jiva Goswami in Brahma Samhita's commentary, first verse, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigranat Radhagun. It's huge explanation he gives how this word Krishna. We have to understand the meaning of Krishna in terms of tattva, and then we can understand rasa properly. Otherwise, we cannot appreciate the rasa properly without understanding tattva. The word Krishna in terms of tattva. In terms of rasa also we'll understand. We'll discuss in further shlokas, but here it is important. Now, Krishna has two parts, Kha and Ksha has Krishna, it has this Ksha and A. So to Ksha actually it's a little what do you call hermeneutics. To Ksha literally means to attract or to subdue. Both are there. So the two words Ksha and is to attract and to exist also. And because at the every living entity, the core of all beings is there is a subduing force that can only belong to Krishna, Lord. In other words, Ksha indicates that Krishna is the cause of all things. It is the attractive force or subduing cause of all things and has absolute power over all things. That means holding the entire world in its orbit of his attraction. So the symbol A in the word Ksha, according to the meaning, is Nivritis, spiritual bliss. So it's very technical. I also don't know much. I'm just giving a little bit whatever I am understanding. because he gave, actually with Balram Shakti only we had almost like few months of discussion on one verse. Of course, we were going weekly once, twice like that, but it took quite a long to just to complete one first verse. After that, we didn't do only Brahma Samhita, first verse only we did. That's a big elaborate. So there are two parts in the word. Ksha relate to the cause and effect. So the third meaning is Ksha is one who has universal attraction, because here he bears the bliss. So one is supporter, one is cause and effect. The Ksha has all these three meanings. So that's why it's Krishna who possesses all these things is what is Krishna. And in terms of rasa also there is so much. This rasa little bit I'll explain maybe in later verses. But here Kunti Maharani is telling that Krishna is more generous than any other person. Anyone else can give that loving relationship. Nobody can give. And she says his father's name is Nanda. Nanda means joy. And Krishna is called Nanda Nanda, who gives joy. Now, other incarnations, Lord Krishna is very special. This is one important point we should always understand. This is what Bhagavatam wanted to understand. That's why please understand this. Yeah, this Kri only stands. Krish. Kri means to attract. Na is who possesses it. Krishna. I'll share Brahmasamhita's notes for you. If you are very interested, you can go through it. But another part is, so Krishna basically means, the word Krishna means to attract, or who possesses bliss, or cause and effect. That much you can, three words you understand, it's sufficient. And one more thing we understand, that this is the most perfect way to understand, most perfect way to explain the highest truth. Now, if you go to this in this world, people who are more accessible, they're like they're considered very compassionate. That's why politicians, if you see now elections come, they try to go to the people, reach out to people, election campaigning, because they want to show that they are very accessible. So one who is more accessible, he wins elections. Similarly, the center of all bliss, he also comes to this world in different images. He comes to the world to share his happiness with all of us. Now, he comes as Narsingadev, or according to Biblic, he comes as a pillar of fire, or some other bright light. And for us, he comes as Kurma, Matsya, Varaha. But it is not easy to approach any of this form. Say if Narsingadev, how many of you feel very easy to approach Narsingadev? Even Lakshmi Dev was feeling afraid to go to him. We may, in photo we can approach, and when we have problem we approach, but that intimate relationship is not possible with Narsingadev. And demigods were trembling, they were hiding behind pillars only. What to speak of. And Varahadev or Parshuram, even Lord Ramchandra also, even though he is in a human form and of all other avatars, but still he is not so easy. More relationship is Dasya Rasa, and some sort of Gaurava Sakya Rasa it is. So there is Aishwarya filled with Sakya is there. And but when it comes to Krishna, it is the only one who gives away his love unconditionally. So this is the speciality of Krishna. And that's why he's Akhila Rasa Amritam, the fullest embodiment of all manifestations of love, we can say. And this is his incredible greatness and his incredible availability. More accessible. That's why all the words go to him, according to us. Now, by repeating the name of Krishna, one can meditate on this philosophical meaning also. The name, and thereby we can, by purify one's heart, by contact with infinite beauty and bliss and existence, and and also recall the availability of the beautiful face of Krishna, boy Krishna. That's how. So now he's ready to reciprocate. This is infinite love. Krishna is contained in Krishna. That's why we all promote this name. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas consider this name of God to be paramount. This is the highest. Now here Kunti, she is listening to the now what she is telling, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devikananda. Now Krishna is reciprocating love with various devotees. Krishnaya Vasudeva means she says, "Oh Krishna, you are ready to give yourself to everyone, but all of those whom you give your love, my brother Vasudev is actually most fortunate because you became his son." Vasudev, sorry, not Vasudev. Vasudev became his son. You became his son because Vasudev asked Krishna, "I should have a son like you." Lord said, "Okay, but it's not possible to have a son like me. I'll only become your son." And then she says, Vasudeva, Devaki Nandanayacha. But Devaki is more fortunate. She is fortunate because she loved you more than Vasudev and you agreed to enter her womb. And how fortunate the absolute truth, in whom all the creation is resting, he is in the womb of Devaki for 8-9 months. So, and that a concentrated bliss. Even though Devaki tried to hide her happiness from Kamsa, but she could not hide her bliss. She was so blissful and radiant because the complete bliss is actually in her womb. So can you imagine how much she must be blissful? And Devaki did not get so easily. Then must be time we'll discuss how much Devaki went through. We discussed previously, but this is very important to know about Devaki's sacrifice to get this. So Devaki could not believe her good fortune. So the Lord, so he is reciting. And then she says, okay. And even Devaki prays to Krishna when he comes as forerunner. So then she says, when the whole world ends and enters the entire material cosmic manifestation, all moving, non-moving, everything enters your body and rests in you without any frailty. Now you entered my womb. That's what Devaki says. And even who will believe me? People cannot believe this, Sheila. So they will only think I am mad. That's what Devaki says. And then Kunti says, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. When she says, but Nanda is even more fortunate than Devaki because you stayed with Devaki for 9 months only. But whereas with Nanda Maharaj, he's just a cowherd boy, but you stayed for so many years and you played in front of his courtyard. So how much fortunate. So this is a very famous prayer we discuss also. This I also like songs. Raghupati Upadhyas. This is very sweet. These 2 verses of Raghupati Upadhyaya from Chaitanya Charitamrita where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks when he meets at Prague, Raghupati Upadhyaya, he says, please tell something about Krishna. Then he says, oh, I am afraid. I am actually those who are afraid of material existence. No? They worship Vedas. Some worship Smritis, and they also they start reading Mahabharata and all. As for me, I worship only one person, that is Nanda Maharaj, because in his courtyard Krishna is playing. That means he must be knowing a big secret. I want to know that secret, how he could make the absolute truth dance in front of his courtyard and play in front of his courtyard. I will worship Nanda Maharaj because I want to know that secret. And Chaitanya becomes so blissful. He says, tell me more, tell me more. Then Raghupati Padya says, what can I tell and who will believe me? That the absolute truth is hiding in a village, in the bushes, in a small village of Vrindavan, and hunting for gopis, and especially for Radharani. And who will believe me and who will accept me that this is what the absolute truth is doing? He is just hunting for girls. Oh, to go to Lord, you need to be so chaste and you need to be so much standards and what the absolute truth is doing. So now An ordinary child only can give great happiness to parents. So it is difficult to imagine even for a moment what happiness Nanda Maharaj must be experiencing when Krishna is there. So this is he is the master of infinite creation and all beauties, all riches, and is crawling in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And then Kunti continues. Now, next name what should come? Yashoda, but she don't tell Yashoda. She tell Nanda Govindaya Namo Namaha. She says. So Yashoda she is going to glorify separately. She has kept it. But when she says Govinda, Govindaya Namo Namaha, is actually indicating the devotees whose love for Krishna is even greater and stronger than Nanda Maharaj. Who are they? They are all the gopis and all. Now she don't mention the name out of respect for them, but and is also actually even Sukhdev Goswami sir does not take the name of Srimati Radharani. So Kunti Mare also don't take the name of Radharani out of respect and reverence for her. Now, and also another explanation why Govinda is that is the time when Krishna got the name Govinda when he lifted Govardhan hill. That is the time Krishna could give. At a time he was with all the devotees of Vrindavan. So that is why one who has chained to himself the feeling of all beings. Govinda. That is the meaning. Go and Vinda means one who has chained to himself the feeling of all living beings. So Krishna did it, and when Krishna was in Vrindavan, this is what this pastime he did. So now anybody can begin the spiritual journey, no matter how many material attachments and sins separate him from God, because God wants to give himself to us. So this is his greatness of his accessibility. This is why, because he's very detached, that's why he's accessible also. Otherwise, it is not possible. Many rich people, famous people, why they are not accessible? Because they don't have detachment. Detachments is actually one way you get accessibility. So the most accessible manifestation of God is holy name, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So entire Srimad Bhagavatam is about this only: accessibility of Krishna and the glories of holy name, like that. So Srimad Bhagavatam we see, so like we all can make ourselves free from this material world if we are very sincerely chanting. Yannama vivasho grinan tatasadhe mumucheta yad bhibeti swayam bhayam. So because the fear personified is afraid of. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is glorifying Krishna, and we have the story of Ajamil and so many where we have the holy name. Now Srimad Bhagavatam is not to make people get rid of sins or free themselves from the terrible cycle of birth and death. But Bhagavatam is to teach love. So Kunti Maharani here, she is not going to pray, make me free from death, make me free from fear. No, this is all about love. This is what Bhagavatam want to teach. Therefore, Kunti begins her prayers with special names of Krishna. She says, no, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. No? So she boasts in this prayers to Krishna out of great love. And now in the next actually love always begins with the name of the beloved. So without name, it is actually dead. So that's why in all traditions there is name of Lord. And of course, there are so much to discuss, but we'll go with the next shloka. I just wanted to few words about next shloka. Actually, we are supposed to be in 24, but I didn't complete this. So this Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline, Namah Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Few words in this on this shloka also we'll discuss. and then we'll go further. Now, about holy name, because many times it will come that we can discuss again about it. So in this verse, Kunti is actually comparing all parts of Lord with lotus flower. So Pankaja means born out of mud, but according to this vrittis, we actually count it as lotus only. It is Laukiki vritti. So the image of Lord is in the Archa Vigraha. Prabhupada is explaining this here in the purport. So there are different forms, 5 actually aspects of Lord. So there is Para, Vyuha, Antaryami, and Archa Vigraha. So these are the different aspects of Lord. Now we'll just come to that. The reason why Kunti is comparing different parts of Krishna's lotus, because even though lotus grows from water, but it does not become wet. So even when Krishna comes to this metal world, he remained transcendental. This is first reason. And another reason is lotus is born out of mud, but in spite of this, it remains a symbol of purity and beauty. So similarly, the Lord's image, even though it is born out of, say, our deities or forms which we have, even though they are coming from wood, stone, metal or anything, but it is not matter. That is very important. Lotus is coming from mud, it is symbol of purity. Deities are coming from metal, wood, stone, they are not metal. This is very important. So this is first aspect. And Krishna is transcendental. This is how it is not getting wet. So she is meditating on the image of Krishna, Pankaj Nabha. He says, your navel is like lotus. So we should start from the feet, but Kunti don't wanted to confuse Krishna. He's like, oh, how come you are saying I am Ishvara? I am just your nephew. So Prabhupada writes in the purport like that. And now here, this is actually what acharyas do. They help us to understand. And Kunti start meditating on the lotus navel. Why Lord is Pankajanabha? Prabhupada explains this. Because the lotus flower grows from his navel, and then all the 14 planetary systems are there. And even Bhu Mandala is also like lotus, and Satyaloka is also lotus. So Kunti said that original Purusha and the cause of all things, and she is meditating that how this is a lotus and coming. And also, yeah, this Archa Vigraha we were discussing. So this is a very important for us to understand that manifestation of Lord. So all these Leela Avtaras come from Yuhas, and first there is Lord as Para, then there is Vaibhava, manifestation of Vyuhas actually. From Vyuhas the Leelas come, then there is Paramatma and all these forms. Now this is very simple. One point I will tell. Deity. No, I will not tell. No, I realized I have to complete at least. So now she says Pankaja Netraya. So I bow down to, which is lotus. So when we come to the Lord in the temple, we should take darshan of Lord's all these forms. His garlands are lotus, his eyes are like lotus. And then what happens in that atmosphere, we get immersed in that peaceful atmosphere in the temple. And our mind gets cooled. The passionate desires, the material sorrows, and anger, resentment, fear, and all these things from our mind will be evaporated. That's why we come to temple, take darshan. And when a mind is immersed in all these negative emotions, he cannot meditate. and they feel the presence of Lord. That is a problem. So now, according to Shastras, lotus along with moonlight, camphor, sandalwood paste. All these things are having a property of to cool the head. So when we see a lotus, our mind gets very calm and cool when we concentrate. So true meditation is possible only when the mind is calm, right? So we all understand this. If we are not influenced by grief, or if uh, we are not aroused by material desires, mind is very calm, then we can concentrate. Now the fever within us will be subdued when we look at the lotus form of Lord in this way, and his compassionate eyes and like that. Now here, now next shloka we take. यथा ऋषिकेश कलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं सुचार्पितं विमोहिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नातेन मुहुर्विपत्कण. We have read purports of it. I'm just taking some points which will help. Now there are two stories for this about the form of Lord. I have shared, but again I will just tell one story. We have many stories also about how seeing the form of Lord, our material desires will go away. We have Dhanurdas story from Ramanujacharya's disciple. There is one story from Karoli. His name is Taj Khan. So this Taj Khan, this is also very interesting story. I hope it will happen to us one day. So what happened? This Taj Khan, he was a very devoted Muslim. He used to live in Karoli, and he was there is a deity of Madan Mohan of Sanatan Goswami. That is another story you all know in some other time. But this one point I want to tell because of the deity here. It will help all of you. That's why I'm telling. So what happens is he used to read every day his Quran and very devoted. He was simple messenger. He was working in the court, and king has to give some message to somebody. He has to go carry and give. So he spent all the remaining free time in reading Quran, very strictly forward. And for the Quran, it is forbidden the depiction of God. They say no, there is nothing like Allah. You cannot have some form. You cannot do it like that. So when the king sent Taj Khan to Madan Mohan temple to give a letter to the Pujari, the Mahant there. And he was waiting for the temple clergyman to reply for it. And he was waiting at the doorsteps, and he could not go inside because he is forbidden, because he's a Muslim. They don't go inside. But out of curiosity, he just looked through the windows into the temple. And as soon as his eye happened to fall on the form of Madan Mohan, it seemed that Madan Mohan was directly looking at him. And then whatever he thought about idol, about in the Quran itself, no deity and all, immediately, because they are so much against the deity, immediately everything evaporated. And so much the waves of unhappiness, they flowed away from his heart. And he stood staring at Madan Mohan, and Madan Mohan also looked at him. Sometimes Lord plays tricks. He's so fortunate. And then he immediately is like as if he's woken up, and he was trapped. He was trapped by Madan Mohan. With great difficulty, he could take us. So beautiful Madan Mohan was looking for him. This original form Madan Mohan manifested, and he could not take out his eyes only. With great difficulty, he swayed away from his gazes away from the deity, and he was walking from the place and just remembering. And as soon as he went home, whole day was remembering the form of Madan Mohan. He was taking his Quran. No, this is all wrong. I should not do it. There is no form for Lord. And now he was reading his Quran and trying to do, but this form of Madan was not going from his mind only. So wherever he went, sight of Madan Mohan, his lotus eyes, they are just everywhere with him. So no matter how hard he tried. So from that day onwards, he ran to temple at every opportunity, never any letter counts or anything. And then he's trying to see the Lord from the distance. And Madan Mohan was also smiling at him. And slowly he abandoned his prayers. He stopped reading Quran. And Muslim brothers, they turned their back to him. They said, "This is apostate. You cannot do anything with him." And then Pujaris recognized this fellow is coming. They what? They threatened, "If you come, we are going to beat you." But he could not prevent only himself. And he was thinking of Madan Mohan and he was weeping. And he writes poetry also, very beautiful poetry. And contemplating on the face of Madan Mohan says, "My heart is very, there is no rest for me anywhere. I'm hungry." Sorry, there is no hunger, there is no thirst, there is no sleep for me. I forgot all the things when from the day I saw you. I know this is what a boy writes for a girl or something. And he's writing to Madan Mohan. How fortunate he is, right? So you appeared just for a moment and disappeared as if nothing has happened. But what happened to me now? So for no, and every moment without your last for the last years, I wish I could again see your gaze one more time. I could sneak and see all these things. So he writes some very beautiful poetry. And he says, "I am a beggar, I seek for your mercy, and I need." So he, and then Madan Mohan answered his prayers, and you do research and find out how he answered. This is a suspense. So the point is how, same thing with Dhanudas or anything. So the service to deities gradually purifies the heart and helps us to helps one feel clearly the involvement of God in their life. This is very important. If we serve the deities, they will help us understand how they are involved in our life and they are taking care. And it is true also, they are taking care, otherwise, very difficult. This is the, and now in this next shloka, this is a very important shlokas for us. And I don't know, I'm going very slow. Maybe tomorrow we'll complete. I will just read two purports. This Vishan Mahagni and this two we will discuss tomorrow more elaborately. But before that, I'll just read two purports just to complete our syllabus also. So please wait. Rustum from Undavan, I don't know, Mataji. I heard his name is Taj Khan, but I don't know he is Rustum or not. Maybe Karoli and Taj Khan, you can Google, maybe you can get name. I'm not sure whether he is Rustum or not. Maybe he may be also. So these are the very important shlokas. This is, I will try to take. So these two purports we'll read, and next I will again cover what you say 23, 24 also. Some important points are there, but before that, again we'll just, as our syllabus also we have to cover. Otherwise it will be difficult. Vipada santatasasya tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam nisyada punar bhava darshanam. It's a very important shloka. I will maybe tomorrow we'll discuss more on these three shlokas, but today we'll just read the purports. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. So previously we discussed about this shloka is the trust that Kunti has on Lord, that he is always my well-wisher. So whatever he does for me, I know it is good only. But that's why she is able to pray like this. This is not. Generally, the distresses, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who has performed some pious activities worship or began to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nations, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dream. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all a gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Next shloka. Janma Ishwarya Sutasri Bhi Riyadamanam Dapuma Naivartum Abhidatum Vai Tvamakinchana Gochara. My Lord, your lordships can easily be approached but only by those who are materially exhausted. Because one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve themselves with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot address you with sincere feeling. Purport. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences, and this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result of that by but the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up, intoxicated by such temporary possessions. Consequently, puffed up persons are materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of Lord by addressing him feelingly. O Govinda, O Krishna. It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sin that he is unable to commit. Sin, such is the power of uttering the holy name of Lord. This is not the least exaggeration in the statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency, but there is a quality to such utterance also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the 4 principles of mental advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive body, are so to speak disqualification for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature as such, as much as fever is an external feature of unhealthy body. The general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to exaggerate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. This is not discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign as much as falling of temperature is a good sign. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of metal intoxication which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entering into the kingdom of God. So we'll just big purpose. Actually, Prabhupada is also a very big purpose. I will just we'll just read this one purpose. Yes, Shyam. Yes, Shyam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Very nice explanations. Prabhuji, my question is regarding yesterday's Jaiva Dharma. You mentioned that one point that Lord is always in the spiritual bliss. So he is not actually really, he is aware that we are suffering, but how we are suffering, he is not aware. Regarding that, you remember that point? So
Yeah.
he sends his devotees. So uh, it it was the regarding that how Srila Prabhupada suffered, and then that point came. So
Yes.
how is it that Lord is not really aware of our how we are suffering? So just I was thinking on that.
He cannot. He is aware, but he don't, because that experience is not there for Lord. Because we are accepting material. Lord is always spiritual. There is no possibility for Lord to get anything material. He'll not touch only. Anything he touches, it is spiritual only for him. So that means he will not have that excuse. So he his compassion, he sends this great Vaishnavas acharyas to this material world, and they experience and they understand what we are going through, and then they deliver. Because Lord cannot be anytime unhappy. He's always blissful only. Any situation he is playing with the gopis and in Vrindavan and he is enjoying. So he cannot really understand. That is the truth. Acharyas explain this.
So it is like the same that Lord was not understanding how much Radharani loved her, love of Radharani. So he came in the form of a
The
devotee.
form of devotee to understand. Yeah, it is like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But he
I
cannot come as
understand.
living entity to experience our pain. That is not possible only for
Hmm.
him.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Hari.
Yes, Monica.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, but it is said now that Lord is the master of our senses. So how cannot he be feel what our senses feel?
He is actually controlling our senses. He is giving all the strength in the senses. Like all this material nature, Lord means now all this material nature is Lord's only, no? So he is giving us that energy, the strength, and all these things for our senses, the power of the senses, the quality in the senses. It's all Lord's energies in that way, not directly Lord, his energies.
Okay.
I will try to, we will try to cover as much as possible. There are many things I wanted to share. Maybe if we see if things are going more slow, because Proj is also reached 8th chapter. I should be. Problem is na that Vishnu Chakra commentaries are one line, but Prabhupada's commentaries are huge. So that's why it becomes difficult to catch up. I have to be ahead, otherwise it will be difficult. We'll see whatever possible. Next chapter I'll give you so much hope. Yeah, I have Saturday other classes not in the morning. I have to go to the center to give classes. Okay, thank you all very much for your attention. I know it is little 2 hours is difficult, but still you are all staying and thank you, Harish. Brilliant. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kunti Maharani ki